Hi guys, happy Sunday with Satan. So, alright, a lot of people have been asking me what traditional witchcraft is. So, my assistant, she needs to learn a little bit more about traditional witchcraft, so I gave her 2 really good book references that she will love. So, a little bit of I don't know what this is, just notes taken from my Book of Shadows, from the Traditional Witch Forum, everywhere. So this is really pretty much what traditional witchcraft is. So it's traditional witchcraft to the best of our knowledge. It predates almost all of the other religions of the planet and dates back to the Paleolithic period, so about 40,000 years ago. So traditional witchcraft is, however, a religion that has almost died out due to the predations of other religions and the secrecy of its members. So witchcraft is the same name given to one of the ancient pagan religion. So a religion that was practiced in many forms by many people, including most notably by the Celts. So at a point that should be noted that the Celts, pagans across Europe, had varying beliefs and rituals which differed not only over time but from clan to clan. So, and the village to village. So what I have noted here on these pages are just basic primer details. So the Celts are far more famous for following the traditional pagan religion and the Druidic religion. Traditional witchcraft is practiced by most traditional witches today, is of British origin, so it's British traditional witchcraft. So, where the pagan revival began half a century ago. So although the other Europeans, where'd I go? I don't know where I went. Guys. Okay, traditional witchcraft is practiced by most traditional witches today. So yeah, where the pagan revival about half a century ago, although other European origins exist and may vary in technique and rituals, most trad witches will add a little of their local environment and cultural background and customs to making it unique to them. That's where the whole entire room for creativity pops in. You have all this room for creativity, but it does follow a basic guideline. So, very nice. So, with regards to our European ancestors' beliefs, we do know a few things about them and their view of life. So, the native people of Europe believed in spirits and/or gods, usually associated with the earth, sun, and moon. And these spirits and/or gods led lives that followed the sun's annual journey. So, the sun and the moon, and the changing of the seasons, it was of a great importance to all people as they worked their year around the agricultural year. So this is why Samhain is the Celtic pagan festival New Year, as the agricultural year ended with the harvest being taken in and the new seeds for the new crop having been planted. Okay, well, my notes are messy. So witchcraft is the modern interpretation of the name given to the pagan religion by Christianity. It is also from Christianity. The vast majority of our knowledge of the pagan witch way of life and beliefs come from. So other sources include some agricultural digs across Europe and from family traditionals who have maintained an oral history of these ancient religions. So it's pretty much very ancient, very old, a lot older than Christianity, every freaking faith. So, traditional witchcraft covens do not have the degrees of initiation that Wicca has. The traditional witchcraft is much older, a lot older. So, that's what I like. So, traditional witchcraft normally just has a leader or of a coven who is chosen for their knowledge, experience, and a willingness to lead. Christianity adopted many of the rituals and customs of the pagans, druids, and witches. Yule becoming Christmas, Ostara becoming Easter, or Astarte, and so on until all of the pagan festivals were incorporated into the Christian tradition. So, as Christianity suppressed the native religions of the lands it occupied, some may think that this is strange. However, this is quite normal for any religion attempting to conquer another. So the conquering religion will incorporate some of the beliefs, festivals, or deities of the conquered religion, brandishing the rest as evil. So this is no different from thousands of years ago as it is compared today. that this still takes place in such locations as Tibet, China's suppressions of the native religion, in Africa, many countries, tribes, and beliefs. So yeah, it's deep and rich in history. It's amazing. It's a wonderful path. You have, if you want to worship God, like God, in the Christian religion, you can do that. Big connections with Heka, Egyptian magic and religion, and traditional witchcraft. Big ones. Alright, so some of our beliefs. Traditional witches, we do not follow any religious books, nor do we believe in any singular deity. The vast majority of witches do not believe in any deities at all, and believe in a singular, all-powerful force known as nature. Baphomet. Literally. Baphomet. So, this is mostly due to the evolution of the religion over time. So it says, I have met trad witches who have believed in deities and those who haven't. So the choice is really yours. When most people think of nature, they think of trees and animals. So they don't think of everything single, natural and manufactured thing on this planet. And the rest of our solar system, galaxy, and universe as well. So nature encompasses all of these things, and we generally see but a small part of it. So traditional witches do not worship any entities, although we do recognize the existence of other entities commonly referred to as spirits. So trad witches, we believe in the equality of all beings in the universe, seeing them as all different and separate but still equal. Traditional witches reserve and respect nature, however, we do not worship it or its representatives. So, we aren't the tree-hugging Wicca. It's nothing like Wicca. It's not. So, we as traditional witches call on no deities, but may call on spirits. Well, I do call on deities and spirits, so. Alright, so traditional witches occasionally call on the elements, sometimes, not really, as well. However, a large majority of traditional witches do not, as the belief of 4 elements is originally a Greek belief and not Celtic in origin, where witchcraft originates from. So, when performing magic, a trad witch, we will commonly call on assistance from a spirit in the spirit world. Traditional witches see the spirit world and physical world as being linked, but separate. So, we cannot see the spirit world, and the spirit world is unable to touch the physical. The only time when the veil is between the worlds, the 2 worlds, is at its thinnest, is on the night of Samhain. So for me, that's different. No, I believe I live on a spiritual highway for spirits. So that is, you're always touched by spirit. It's always going on, literally. So now afterlife and the reincarnation. So this is interesting. So, when we do die, we witches travel to a plane of existence called the spirit world. So this is where we rest before continuing our journey. When we continue our journey, we may be born into a new life, reincarnation being commonly believed by many witches, and is where the phrase, once a witch, always a witch, comes from. It does not just mean just one lifetime, however, but many. So, however, another alternative is that we meld with nature, becoming one with it, commonly becoming a land spirit. One reason why we always show respect for the spirits is they are spirits of those that have passed before us. In the vast majority of cases, however, spirits will remain as themselves within the land, within the spirit world, sometimes interacting or trying to with the living. So, the pale ones below. There we go. That the pale ones below are ancestors. Nature spirits, fairies, sprites, gnomes, all of them. It's very interesting. Alright, now fate and or karma. Nope. So, many people believe in karma, including Wiccans. However, this is not a part of traditional witchcraft, as the concept of karma is a Hindu-Buddhist concept, and not one of Western Europe. So, but what traditional witches do believe is in fate. So we all have a fate. So what that is, however, we may not know until it happens, or perhaps we may be born with knowledge of what it is. So our fate is one of many mysteries that unfolds as we grow older. So I've already kind of figured out my fate, what I do. So it's really, really interesting. I like it. So now with ritual. So traditional witches observe the Sabbats, as these days correspond to solstices and equinoxes, but do not relate them to a specific mythology, such as can be seen in other pagan religions. In traditional witchcraft, it is the seasonal changes themselves that are honored, not the lives of any gods or goddesses that other religions associate with them. Traditional witches observe moon phases and other natural phenomena also, the full moon being of significant importance. The Esbats, which are full moons, being more important than the Sabbats. So yeah, it's very different. It's very, very old, very ancient. So in traditional witchcraft, though, all life, all nature, all space is considered to be sacred. That is why I do not ever use salt. That's why I don't cast a circle. We lay a compass counterclockwise to invite everything in. And if it's good, it can stay. If it's bad, it can go. So it's all in our intent. So okay, a point should be made that while all traditional witches would love to be able to perform magic and ritual in woodland glades or on top of the hills, this is simply not practical. We don't all live out in the country. I do, but not all of us do. So, as we believe that everything is sacred, it's perfectly acceptable to do magic or ritual in your living room or bedroom as opposed to a woodland glade. So it may not feel as Disney-esque, but it is perfectly acceptable. Just totally throw out the whole Disney thing right there. Now magic. Magic is central to traditional witchcraft, whereas many eclectic witches, Wiccans, or pagans do not practice any magic at all. All traditional witches do, although not in the same ritualistic way that a Wiccan would. So it would be called, or it could be a simple spell cast while cooking to improve the taste of food, to a earth healing spell done in the sanctuary of private garden. So all religions use music, as it is defined as any attempt to affect the outcome of a given situation by supernatural means, though in traditional witchcraft these means are seen as natural. Everything is natural. So, where'd I go? Prayer, for example, is a form of magic. However, the majority of religions of the world deny this as being magic. So when practiced, the magic of traditional witchcraft is very practical. Healing or herbal healings, for example, is a traditional practice. Also, the magic of traditional witchcraft may include hexes and curses, without a specific rule to prevent such acts, such hexes and curses, whatever. So, though their use is only in the most extreme of cases. If someone's going to hurt me, my family, we go back with magic. So, when casting spells and performing rituals, a traditional witch will keep everything simple and practical, ignoring the type of ritual that Wiccans or other high magic users would do. If a traditional witch doesn't have the right herbs or stones, they don't worry, we don't. They'll just carry on regardless. So, in many cases, we will never use any additional spell ingredients other than their mind and the willpower. So, commonly a single candle to aid concentration, which is very, very easy. So traditional witches follow a folk magic system rather than the high magic system that Wicca employs. So most people believe that witchcraft itself is a magical system. However, that is incorrect. Witchcraft is a religion, yet it employs a magical system. The magic of a traditional witch is simple, practical, and powerful. Very simple. So, although I do, high magic, modern magic, I love his Levi, I do have, a lot of that going on. So our grimoire, or Book of Shadows. Book of Shadows, I really do think is a Wiccan term. So Wiccans and eclectic witches have what they refer to as a Book of Shadows, a book that they have required to create themselves, creating their notes, spells, and anything else they feel like. Traditional witches have something similar, and we call this a grimoire. So a point to note, however, is that these BOSs and grimoires are recent things. This causes a lot of confusion among many people who believe that their ancient ancestors who had a book of shadows or grimoire containing everything to do with their religion. This simply isn't true, as many people several hundred years and further back were illiterate. So, as to have any written evidence of their belief come lead to their death if it was found. So today we have grimoires for ease of reference with our everyday lives. That is a lot to remember, and having our spells and reference details and everything else written in a grimoire is easier for us. And in these more enlightened times, we aren't going to be burnt at the stake or hung for being a witch, or for being found with a book. Now we have rites of passages. So traditional witchcraft covens often have very few rites of passages, if any at all. So rituals may be performed at a specific stage of a person's life, and most definitely performed to celebrate the changing of the year. Rites of passage in traditional witchcraft, unlike those of Wicca, vary greatly from coven to coven and solitary to solitary, so entirely upon the individual or group's preferences and their cultural history. Most solitary traditional witches choose to ignore many rites of passage that other religious groups would follow and pick and choose what they want, what they do and don't follow. Freedom to do so is one of the rights of being a witch. So that is where we have the room for creativity and all that wonderful stuff. Now, ethics and morality. Traditional witchcraft has neither the Wiccan Rede nor the threefold law. Both of these were included into Wicca by Gerald Gardner to ensure a defined form of a moral code and originate from Eastern ideas. So traditional witches, us, are required to depend entirely upon their own personal responsibility and honor and ask themselves every time whether something is moral or ethical. So we trad witches don't believe in any good or evil force, although we do believe that people can be good or evil. There's no specific good or evil force, such as the devil in Christianity. The intent of someone's actions are what concerns us the most. Humans have the ability to make decisions and act on them, and they may choose and act with good or evil intentions. So, traditional witchcraft does not set laws as to what actions and intentions are evil, but followers of this path take responsibility for their own actions. Witchcraft teaches us that you should follow your heart and take responsibility for your own actions. Very, very closely related to Satanism. Very. Curses and hexes. So yes, this is very, very good. So people commonly see witches as the casters of curses and hexes, whereas Wicca, for example, is strictly opposed to hexes and curses. There are no such restrictions within traditional witchcraft. However, and this is why this section is the ethics section, if the thought arises of casting a hex or a curse, we must ask ourselves, is it ethical? Any witch will tell you that in the defense of a loved one's family, the answer is yes. There you go. If, however, it relates to cursing someone who cut you up on the motorway, then the answer is no. So yeah, don't do that. Witches now are state of mind. So witches are naturally skeptical by nature. Very. So possessing an open mind but critical mind. So being open-minded is a good thing, but not when it makes you so susceptible to believing everything that you are told. So it may sound like a strange thing to say with regard to a religion, but take a scientific approach and gather as much information, facts, as possible on the subject before you form opinions and decisions. So witches strive for wisdom and balance. You will not be courteous, understanding, and diplomatic. So sometimes you will be silent and simply listen. At other times you will offer advice or comfort. Don't try to show off your talents, ever, and draw attention to yourself, as it is an unbecoming. It is also important to realize that all paths lead to the same source, so respect all paths even if you don't agree with them. Stand up for your beliefs, but don't belittle others for their views. Always try to be confident and respect your body mentally and physically, for it is your temple. Now your mind and will are powerful tools, and with a healthy body can bring about the incredible change and reality. That is all you need to do magic. So it's pretty interesting. It gets deep, I mean pretty deep, but it's simple. So it seems really odd, but it's simple. Now, attitude towards sex. So unlike some other religions, witchcraft sees sex as sacred and special. It is not something to be shunned into the dark closet as a dirty and evil, but enjoyed and revered as a blessing. So Wiccans believe that the act of sex, love-making, is a gift from the goddess. Traditional witches, we see it as a gift and or blessing from nature. Many witches use the inherent power of sex to power spells, which is one reason why tantric sex is widely practiced by witch couples. Always be safe. Always. The magical aspect of tantric sex can be harnessed by a couple working together to greatly enhance a particular spell they are casting. So, on safety note, however, if you find a coven and they say that you must have sex with the coven leader or members, they're literally talking shit. No. You always can say no. So, certain pagan rituals centuries ago may have involved such things for certain rites, but none today. So, the pentagram. So the pentagram is the symbol of witches and many other pagans. So it is used mainly for protection, healing, and magic. So the pentagram itself signifies the basic elements and spirit. From top going clockwise, diesel, they are spirit, earth, north, air, east, fire, south, and water, west. We have a lot of traditions of witchcraft. I mean, a lot. So there are many different traditions of witchcraft, and people's views and beliefs can differ greatly from traditional witchcraft to Wiccan to eclectic. So where a traditional witch acknowledges no deities, but simply believes in the male and female spiritual and sexual polarities of nature, a Wiccan incorporates the Kabbalah and Eastern practices into their tradition of witchcraft, worshipping the female and the male of nature as a god and a goddess. So an eclectic witch, however, chooses a pantheon of gods and goddesses to represent the different areas of nature and desire to worship. So, alright, so even within these three main traditions of witchcraft, there are subheading traditions, such as the Gardnerian Wicca, Alexandrian Wicca, Dianic Wicca, etc., etc. Eclectic witchcraft differs based on pantheons of deities used. So, be they Norse, Roman, Greek, or ancient pagan, however, all share the same core belief, and that is nature is sacred, and as children of nature, we should learn to live with nature and care for it as much as humanly possible. So, it's a beautiful religion. It really is. It's very practical, very simple, but very powerful. So, now we have the number 13. I like this. So, many people believe that the number 13 is unlucky, and especially if it's the Friday the 13th. So, the Friday the 13th is reputed to have its origins in the arrest of the Knights Templar on October 12th, and their trials and the tortures of the 13th of the Friday. So, which were said to be so awful that the surviving knights said that the day itself, Friday the 13th, was evil. So that is why we actually think about Friday the 13th as being unlucky and evil when it's not. So, now 13 has notoriety as unlucky in superstitions, such as 13 people sitting at a dinner table. The first to rise will be the first to die. Folklore. As witches, though, we know that no number in itself can be unlucky, nor any particular day. If anything, the number 13 is lucky, and it is the number of full moons during the year, and revered by many witches as a very lucky number. So something to remember the next time someone looks worried that Friday the 13th is coming up. Craft names. So, if I become a witch, a traditional witch, question for you guys. Okay, do I get to make up a craft name for myself? Very simple answer. No. Nope. Craft names have absolutely nothing to do with traditional witchcraft and are a Wiccan invention. Now, you might ask, but isn't Echo Witch a craft name? And the answer there, again, would be no. The name Echo Witch is merely an internet pseudonym, tried to maintain some level of, anonymity on the web. So people they will use different kinds of names. But I have adapted a name for myself, but it's kind of a pseudonym, kinda. So I don't know. So some of you, if you want to have a craft name anyway, but Traditional Witchcraft doesn't have them. So, and from some of the craft names that I've seen, they come across as very pretentious, with everyone naming themselves after deities, calling themselves Lord this or Lady that. Except for Lady Gaga, that's different. Even some Wiccans, pagans, and druids feel that the idea of a craft name is daft. So, nature knows who you are, not by any name, but by your presence within nature. Names mean nothing to nature. So, there's a lot to go off of. So I mean, I can go on and on with my notes through the years of practicing this, and yeah, it's just crazy. It's good. So yes, that is Traditional Witchcraft, the basics. So that is a basic overview of what I practice and what I believe. Yes, of course, I incorporate other elements. Ceremonial magic, herbs, different sigils, sigil magic, that kind of thing. Poppet magic, very, very European. So yes, poppet magic, big time. Baking poppets, bread in the shape of a poppet, very, very Traditional Witchcraft. Brooms, yes, definitely brooms. Doing your compass counterclockwise, because nothing is inherently, completely evil. So that is just intentions from mankind. So it's very different. It's very nice. Yeah. So it's nothing to do with Wicca. It does not have a thing to do with Wicca. It's not even close. So, but yes, I like the whole idea of karma. But what goes around comes around. Still, we know, take responsibility for your own actions. That's what that's all about. So, hence, what goes around comes around. There you go. So. Alright guys, I hope you enjoy my Lisa, my wonderful assistant. This is for you specifically. And if anybody else is wondering what I believe and how I practice, this is it. This is the way. My personal way. So, just like Ed and Lorraine Warren said, if you are looking up and you are worshiping a supernatural deity or anything, it's all one, basically a giant disco ball. So, alright guys. Happy Sundays with Satan, or actually, Old Horny, the horned one, the Buka. So, I love you all very much, all the way from Venus, all the way back down. And I will see you all tomorrow. So, if you guys have any questions, let me know. I love you all, and everybody have a